Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. I am officially done with my very first convention. It just happened this past weekend and I just took a few days to relax and recuperate from traveling and putting away all my stuff. But I wanted to share my very first experience from an artist's standpoint. Tabling at a convention, an anime and video game convention. And long story short, if you don't want to watch the full video, that's fine. But I had a lot of fun and I definitely would recommend it to others who have never tabled at a convention but might be nervous. It's a lot of fun. There's a lot more pros than there are cons. Albeit apparently this convention that I went to was a bit unusual compared to the traditional conventions in terms of organization, but it was still a lot of fun. Besides getting to of course sell your stuff, which is what we're there for, to make a profit, you also get to network with other artists. I don't have a lot of artist friends in real life, so being able to meet other people, in person and realize that they're not too far away from you is pretty cool. So the networking part is really great. Also seeing how people interact with your stuff and how they react, like, oh, this is so cute. It makes you feel so good about the work that you do. And it was definitely encouraging. After the convention, I came away with a lot of valuable tips from other artists who have already been doing this for years and who do it full time. And you just get a lot of ideas of what you want to do next. So for me, like I said in the previous video, I went in with the intention of a one and done deal for the convention, hence why I got poster board material and I took boxes from Walmart because I didn't want to invest a lot of money into my first one, and it turns out it was a success anyway. I think it would look better if it had the grid racks and stuff, but nevertheless I did the best that I could, and I will show a picture of my table, my convention table here. But yeah, I think it was good. Other artists also said it was really good. They were the ones that actually encouraged me to attend other conventions. Because I was still iffy, The drive there actually was not bad. It was about 50 minutes to an hour to get there. And so yeah, the drive wasn't bad. So that's why that stressful part was gone. And yeah, basically, like I said before, all the positives really outweigh the negatives. I made back, the money that I spent for the tickets. I'm sure I made back money for gas and transportation. So basically, I made a profit, which I'm really thankful for, and I will not disclose that, of course. But yeah, just know that I did make a profit. I got to network with people. You get more exposure as well. There's more brand recognition around that. So even if you say you just broke even or you didn't quite break even, you still get that exposure. Although the best thing, of course, would be to make a profit and get exposure that way. I got to network with other artists as well. It's always really good to be able to meet up with other artists and get, share tips and tricks. Especially being that I was, a first timer. Everyone else was pretty much either a first timer or already experienced by a few years. One artist that I spoke to, she is a self-taught acrylic painter from New York, upstate New York, and she was just super helpful and encouraging. So she was one of those artists that encouraged me, made me want to actually look for more conventions. So I'm going to be doing that. I have a lot of ideas in my head that I have to get out and draw out, and other future potential merchandise that I want to make. And I've been looking for other conventions as well this year to join. I would say the most stressful part about the convention, besides the driving part, was setting up in the morning, just making sure that everything was, you know, set up and good to go before like the convention goers actually came in, and taking payments. So like I showed you guys in the other video, I bought the Square reader and it worked fine. Like I had no issues or glitches or bugs working with my phone. However, the pressure arrives when people start picking what they want, and then they tell you what they want. And if they pick a lot, which is fantastic, it's great if they pick a lot, but if they do, the thing is with Square, and being that I keep inventory, I want to be able to keep track of that, like what goes in and what goes out and what they buy. So I'm like manually inputting it, like scrolling through my thing or typing in like the stickers, so I have to literally look at what they want, and then like punch that in. It can get a little overwhelming, especially if there's more than one person at the table taking a look and they want stuff. Also, the thing is, you can only process one transaction at a time. So say for example, someone is ready and then they change their mind and they saw something else, but someone else is ready. You have to clear that transaction and then serve that other one. It's a little more complicated, but it's yeah, that was the tough part that I felt stressed about. I guess that stress goes away with time and you just become more adept at taking people's checking people out. But you know, everyone was very like super patient, and I wasn't like a turtle at this. Thankfully I had my helper, so she was bagging things and showing me the stickers. I was also teaching her how to check out for times when I had to step out, you know, away from the table. But I would say the checkout part was one of the most stressful parts. Everything else was like super smooth. The setup the first day, I set everything up, and then at the end of the first day I took mostly everything away, except the poster board that I had, because it was taped to the tablecloth, and I wanted to set something there. I wanted to keep it there so that the next morning, if say for example I was late in getting there, if there were any new artists coming in, they would know that this table was already taken. I called this convention unusual because apparently, according to some artists that I spoke to over there, this convention was a tad disorganized. So one example was, they said that the convention allowed artists to set up the night before on Friday evening. They were supposed to be there at 6 p.m. to allow them to set up. However, the people were very late in arriving. They arrived like 45 minutes late. So the doors were locked for 45 minutes, and people, you know, who came like from out of state and stuff, they were there for 45 minutes waiting to set up. So that was a bit disorganized. They just weren't punctual at all with that. Second thing was, when we were breaking down Saturday, and they had to close up the room, apparently the rooms weren't locked until someone noticed around 9 p.m. that people were still trying to get inside that room even though they're closed. So they complained, of course, and they eventually locked that room where all of our merchandise was, but like it was like past 9 p.m. I believe. Another thing about the timing was Sunday morning, when they didn't open the doors for setup at 8. So the setup time, according to the email and the convention organizer, was 8 a.m. And for example, me, I drive back and forth. I drove back and forth because I'm just an hour away, so I can't justify paying for a hotel when I'm that close. So yeah, I just drove there. We got there at 8 and the doors were still locked. The room was like pitch black, so there was no one in there. We got inside and there were people waiting outside those doors, the rooms, to set up and just, you know, get started. They didn't unlock the room until like 35 minutes later. I'm not sure what the deal was, but yeah, so that was another issue with timing. But the last thing why they called it unusual was the booth setup. So if you've ever attended a convention before, you'll know that, you know, usually along the walls there will be booths set up, and then on the inside you're usually there's usually one cohesive like flow or hallway that you get to where you see everyone's table, but you don't walk behind the booth and see the inside parts. Well, this convention was kind of set up like a classroom setting. So the walls were lined up with tables and booths, but the inside we were sitting like we were all facing the front type thing. So people, it was like a grid at this point where people could walk everywhere, including behind you. And they said that was for COVID guideline purposes, where, you know, we couldn't like sit all on the inside and have our tables and our goods facing the outside. But apparently other artists were saying, you know, like even during COVID, it like the booths and other conventions weren't situated this way, and they were still able to do that thing where, you know, it was one cohesive hallway type thing. So it was yeah, and when I realized that, and it was a little strange and a little embarrassing because, you know, I bought like poster board stuff, so you can see the writing behind it, and it's like, make your own poster board, and it's like example, social studies, whatever, you know, like middle school, high school type assignments. So it was a little embarrassing, but people were walking behind me on both sides and in front of the table, and people were like willing to move the tables and help each other like move it in the beginning on Saturday morning. And the convention head basically came in and said, you know, it's too late, whatever, blah blah blah. That's how the hotel had already configured it and set up or whatever, and she didn't want to change that. So that's how it was, and it was really crowded. They like, there were more artists and vendors than the room allowed, so they had to put tables out in the hallway of the hotel. There were like 2 or 3 tables, so like the last minute people, the stragglers, were put there. Oh, that's also another thing. One thing that was also, you know, something that was disorganized about this convention was that we weren't assigned tables, or, you know, we weren't allowed to pick tables like ahead of time. Apparently some artists the night before the first day of the convention got an email telling them to pick tables, but I never received one. And when we got there on Saturday, they didn't even take a look. They didn't even ask to see the ticket. The people just said, you know, Saturday, Sunday, or weekend artists. And I'm like, weekend? So, you know, for all that could have happened, someone who didn't pay for tickets to be a vendor or artist in the artist alley could have just walked in and just said, you know, I'm here for the weekend, and just sold their stuff. So that was another thing. And they mixed vendors with artist alley together, so it was very strange, and it was a first come first served table. So you just picked whatever table you wanted / saw was available. So that was also another weird thing. Vendors, there was a vendor that picked like a spot in the middle, and his thing was super high, so it like blocked everyone from from seeing, you know, other parts of the room. So yeah, that got a little messy, but regardless, it was still pretty enjoyable for me. Hopefully I'll get to go to other conventions where, you know, all of that is more organized, the timing, the time for setup and the table layouts, and being able to for them to thoughtfully assign me a table, being that I want to be in the artist alley, you know, spot or whatever. So yeah, I think I ranted long enough. Here's some goodies as well of what I got from other artists, and like I said, I will link their Instagram pages below in case you want to check them out. But yeah, of course I had to go and buy other stuff. It was just super tempting and I wanted to support other artists. That's what I say. But here's some of the stuff that I have. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this video, so I'm just gonna wrap it up. Thank you so much guys for, you know, watching this video. Don't forget to give this video a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching it, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. So next video I'll probably be making business cards because I haven't done that in a while. I ran out for so long and I just never got to restock because I don't have a good idea for my new business cards, but I'll be doing that, and also probably thinking of new merchandise to make. So stay tuned for that. Thank you guys, and I hope you have a good one. Bye.